he believed in me.
Look up there. Look at there.
He thought I was smart. He thought I was crafty and creative. He called me his little Bob Vila because I could fix stuff. He called me Mario Andretti because I drove. He said I had a heavy foot, and I'm going, my sister says I drive like a grandma. But, you know, and that kind of support that somebody gives you like that helps. Now, I'd gone through 4 years of college, and I will admit, I cannot teach myself how to do complex algebraic problems.
Alrighty. A lot of people can't.
Right. And when they move from in-class teacher one-on-one type of training, math classes, and they went to all online, that was my undoing. One of my undoings.
Okay.
Another thing is, my fellow and I, we had moved in together. And he proposed. He made me laugh. We played card games. We went out and played in the snow. We just were happy.
That sounds great.
Yes.
I love your story. I love your story because you have just depicted within just a few minutes how there can be life.
After.
How there can be, afterwards. After, I don't want to say the word because is it really a death? It's just change and it's just growth.
Right. Right.
Things don't always stay the same and
right.
It's a part of life.
It is, but the thing that's really sad is when a significant other cannot grow with you, but instead wants to or has to or needs to grow away from you.
Yeah.
That makes it hard for a person to accept. And we fight that tooth and nail.
Oh, yes. That was something else I wanted to touch on.
We fight to keep our ideals. We fight to keep our sense of self. We fight to keep our dreams. We do. But after a while, when you don't see it coming to fruition, what do? You change them.
Because you don't have a choice.
Right. You get tired of banging your head against that brick wall. And one quote, I don't know who it's from. I can't contribute to anybody. But
that's okay.
It's just, I don't want to step on toes. But if you keep running into brick walls in your life,
okay,
open your eyes while you're running. It boils down to that. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who you're dealing with. Be aware. So, and change comes hard to people. Oh my, you've got questions, don't you?
You've already answered a lot of them. Believe it or not, you have. Because you just said it. Another question of mine. There can be times when we don't want to accept change.
Right.
And we do things in a desperate attempt to prevent or delay changing reality.
Yes.
For example, if we are dealing with someone's passing with our brain still having a form of disbelief, we may think that we're still seeing the person.
Right.
But it's not them. It's just our expectations and needing to process the change. Needing to process change is normal. It's a normal part of grieving, and there are stages.
Yes.
Okay. All the emotional trauma from grief and loss may lead to physical effects of stress on the body and cause a flare-up of illnesses, including mental illnesses. It depends on the direction a person may go when dealing with grief and loss. Are they dealing in healthy ways or unhealthy ways? It's a tough process and should never be downplayed. However, no one can go through the process for someone else. Everyone has to process loss and grief independently, not meaning that a person has to be alone, but it is the individual soul's SOUL's responsibility to make positive attempts to transition through the known stages of grief. They are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally, acceptance. Experts say that the process does not have to be experienced in that order, and that time frames for each stage vary. Sometimes people do get stuck in a stage for too long. What kinds of things can we do, or maybe can we have in mind that may get us moving to the next stage, which is towards acceptance and healing? You just mentioned a couple, which would be you had enough in you, because I know everybody's different, and it probably also depends on the impact of the grief and the loss to a person. But you were able to pull yourself up and have in your mind, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to wallow in this and live in this. This is not the life you want for yourself. This is not the end for you. You had enough to say, well, I'm going to do something about how I feel, and I'm going to do something healthy and positive, which was to go back to school.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
I skipped something?
Yes.
I've had a feeling. How did you get to that point? Because
it's not always things you do that are probably healthy and positive.
Okay. Tell me about it.
It's hard for me to put into words what anybody's mental process would be for after a divorce. You could be glad that it's done and over, so you've already had plans of moving on.
You could, right? You could be there.
Be sad and missing this life plan that you had in your brain. That's kind of where I was. Divorce doesn't happen overnight for a lot of folks. Ours was a 2-year process.
Okay.
During those 2 years, I ran the gambit of, even before the actual words divorce were said, trying to fix it, trying to be angry about it, trying to what have you. It wasn't until, I made some bad choices. Everybody makes bad choices, but you can't hold yourself when you're going through that. What is the first thing when you're on medication? And it might be any type of medication, heart medication. Wait a minute. Let me list a few. Blood pressure medication. There's all sorts of medications out there where what does the label say on the bottle? Do not make any decisions at this time while you're on this medication Do not drive heavy machinery. Do not blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
When you are going through a divorce or going through, and we're talking divorce right now.
Okay.
We're going to stick with that.
Okay.
It's really not a good idea to make big decisions, grand gestures, changes. It's the time to make small decisions. And keep in mind that these decisions are for you.
Okay.
And when you get a pile of those small decisions and you can't take X that is going on, you don't want your kids to see X that's going on, you don't want your kids raised X, you don't want the financial issues anymore, you can't deal with the personal verbal between you and your ex. It's time to pile those all up and say, now we can make a big decision. And it's hard. I don't want to make the decision. I don't want to have the label, I'm a divorcee. I don't want to have those labels of I failed my marriage. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have those labels when your kids are, you're a single mom and you're raising your kids. I don't want, I fought it tooth and nail. Mm-hmm. Didn't work. So then you got to go, well, now what else can I do?
Okay.
You talk to people. You talk to religious people. You talk to family. You talk to your closest friends. You talk to whoever will listen.
Right.
You just keep talking, and they may not, some of the answers you may hear are you nuts? When you think in your head what they're telling you to do. And then when you think about that and you go, well, no. Well, they are nuts. I could never do that. That's not right. It helps your decision-making process. You got to take your time with it. Once I accepted that this was going to happen, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be alone forever, weeping and wailing in tears.
Which is normal.
Right. Mm-hmm. Very normal. Mm-hmm. Very normal. Normal to think you failed. Normal not to want to have labels put on you. But it gets old.
Maybe that's the answer.
It gets old.
Then you're
carrying, you've heard the phrase, I don't want to go out with her, she's got too much baggage. Well, you know what? Yeah, I got a lot of luggage. I've got a lot of old crap that happened to me from way back. Mm-hmm. That's my luggage. Sometimes it's put in the closet. Sometimes it comes to the forefront. If you can't handle it, you're not a strong enough person for me, because I know you're not perfect, fella. I know you've got your own set of baggage.
Yeah.
We all have to deal with something in our lives.
I think you hit a good point when you said it gets old. Mm. So to me, I take the meaning of it gets old that you as a person, people outside of you, maybe it got old to them a long time ago.
Right.
But for you, being the person going through it, it has to get old for you,
the individual.
And you definitely are going to get to the next stage headed towards
right.
acceptance and healing.
Right.